Greetings! Today I'm going to be reviewing and discussing the video game System Shock. The game was released on September 23, 1994, developed by Looking Glass Technologies and published by Origin Systems. The game is an epic sci-fi action-adventure shooter with horror elements. I'll split this review into 4 categories: story, gameplay, graphics, and sound. I'll try to make this review as spoiler-free as I can for those who still haven't played it. In 2072, a hacker is apprehended after attempting to access files regarding Citadel Station, a research facility in space maintained by the megacorporation Trioptimum. Company executive Edward Diego brings the hacker to Citadel Station and offers to waive the charges of intrusion if the hacker removes the ethical constraints of the station's AI, known as Shodan. As a reward, the hacker receives installation of a cybernetic neural implant and is placed in a 6-month healing coma. Over time, Shodan becomes power-hungry, and in an attempt to become a god, she seizes control of the station and its systems. Survivors were either infected with an experimental virus or transformed into her cyborg servants. The hacker awakens to this mortifying situation and will have to take down Shodan and put an end to her malevolent schemes. The game's narrative is very in-depth and engaging, and very intrinsically intertwined with the gameplay. Throughout the game, you will find logs, emails, and data that further flesh out plot details and the downward spiral of events that took place during the time that the player character was asleep. The game touches on ideas such as corporate corruption and greed, the power of artificial intelligence, and the ethics of biological and chemical experimentation. The CD version of the game has voiceovers for all the logs and also Shodan herself. Simply hearing the glitchy sound effects in her voice is enough to instill fear into you as you explore the station further. The oppressive surveillance and the constant communications you receive are a constant reminder of the threat you are facing. System Shock plays in a first-person perspective with emphasis on combat and exploration. Health and energy are the main attributes to monitor. You can use energy to power certain weapons and activate your hardware implants, such as the lantern or energy shield. You are able to locate and use a variety of weapons to defend yourself, such as pistols, rifles, blasters, and even a sword. There are also explosives such as fragmentation or EMP grenades. There are also a variety of dermal patches that give beneficial stat increases, some also giving temporary side effects. There are sometimes puzzles to solve and codes to find that are needed to progress. The heads-up display also features helpful display menus such as the map, target info, inventory descriptions, and status monitors. As well, there's a cyberspace mode that has you hovering in a wireframe environment to find new data modules or gain access to certain areas in real space. It can be a little disorienting at first, but once you get the controls down, it's pretty fun and engaging. There are many cameras and computer nodes that populate the 10 levels of the station, which can be destroyed in order to reduce the security and open new doors on each floor. Though it takes a while to get used to the controls and heads-up display, the game plays very smoothly and superbly once you get the hang of it. You can lean, crouch, and maneuver your character to suit the needs of the battles you are engaged in, or dangerous areas you need to traverse. There are many areas that are filled with radiation that can drain your health. You can find envirosuits and items that can help you deal with such exposure. The camera reacts very dynamically depending on your actions, accentuating the recoil from your weapons or the speed of your character. Maps can sprawl endlessly, and at times it is easy to get lost or confused. It almost becomes necessary to review information from the data reader in order to attain clues or suggested pathways for your next objective. It is very important to have a keen eye in order to locate some of the numerous hidden pathways. The game is quite open-ended in terms of how you can overcome obstacles. Being developed for DOS, the game is a mix of 3D environments and models and rendered sprites and textures. The sprites for items such as patches and guns look nice enough to suit their intended purpose. The charm of the old DOS look is alive and well here. Pristine walls and floors with impressive patterns are routinely juxtaposed with the damage and destruction caused by Shodan and her minions. The station is filled with exposed wires, broken doors, and other such collapsed infrastructure. The enemies, whether robot, cyborg, or mutant, are imposing and look like threats. There is a very real dread that fills you when you first encounter an enemy you haven't seen before. For an old school game, it excels in creating an emotionally dark and eerie setting. Usually you see corpses, skeletons, and limbs of the original crews strewn about as you saunter through each corridor. Words written in blood adorn the walls of the starting areas. The cinematic CG cutscenes also look very nice and set the tone very well. The game over animation is especially creepy, where a Cortex Reaver lifts the body of the hacker and converts him into another subject of Shodan's growing empire. The soundtrack is absolutely spectacular. The music oozes cyberpunk and electronic vibes, and is simply a joy to listen to. The intro music already sets the mood so well, with its pulsating bassline, heavy-hitting drums, and ethereal synths. The music is fitting to the pace of each level, some being very hectic and upbeat, while others are more subdued and tranquil. There seems to be a lot of metal and prog influences throughout, and there are some pleasant and impressive parts in some songs that utilize unorthodox time signatures. The tracks are a heavenly fusion of rock and techno. Many machine noises litter the ambience of the station, and sometimes you will hear the faint murmurs of cyborgs in the next room over. The sound effects also have a real punch to them, and are nice to hear, such as when there are explosions, when you are reloading, or when you refill your energy. The voiceovers for the audio logs are also nice. The voice actors do a fine job conveying the emotions befitting of being swarmed by cyborgs. I played the Enhanced Edition, developed and published by Night Dive Studios, which makes the game easier to play on modern systems and adds mouse-click support. I played on all of the default difficulty settings, so I would say that it still gives that edge of being a game that is difficult in an old-school way, but still lenient enough to let you learn from your mistakes and improve your playstyle within its framework. I would probably give System Shock a 9 out of 10 for its wonderful presentation and its overall unforgettable experience. In fact, the game was so profound that it made me re-examine my priorities and draw new conclusions.